Griffin is a lot of things. A father, a husband, a chicken fighter, and possibly the only man alive who once tried to marry his own son. But above all, Peter is dumb. Like, gloriously and unapologetically, what did he just say level dumb. Whether he's rewriting history, misunderstanding the human body, or confusing basic facts with hallucinations, Peter has dropped some of the dumbest quotes ever heard on television. Today, we shall be looking at some of them and the context they happened in. We start off with the episode Family Guy, where Peter says some of the dumbest things to ever leave a human mouth. It all kicks off when he finds an old cardboard cutout of Kathy Ireland behind the bar. Instead of just marveling at the perfect design like a normal person, Peter looks at it like he just met the love of his life. And then, he tells his children this.
Hey, Dad. Where are you going with that cutout?
Oh, hey, kids. This is Kathy. We're designing lifestyle products together. It's completely legitimate, but don't tell your mother.
Just pause for a second. This man is not only dating a cardboard cutout, he thinks they're working on a business venture. Lifestyle products? What is that even supposed to mean? Is he launching a perfume line with a piece of foam? And then it gets dumber. Peter decides to tell Lois the truth. Not just that he has feelings for the cardboard, but that he's leaving her for it.
What are you doing with that cutout?
I can't carry on the charade anymore. I have an announcement to make. I know I've been able to keep this a secret, but Kathy and I are not actually working on a project together. We're in love.
That line alone should come with a medical warning. I can't carry on the charade anymore. Like he was living a double life with a beachwear prop. And then, when he gets jealous and thinks Kathy cheated on him with Chris, he yells at the cutout.
How dare you make a fool of me? Did you have sex with that fat kid? Did you? Answer me! Oh my God, why did you have to provoke me? Why did you
That's not even dumb. It's Olympic level stupid. He just murdered his cheating cardboard and buried it. So yeah, Peter Griffin in a few sentences managed to fall in love with cardboard, had an affair with it, divorced his real wife, and got cheated on by a person who cannot physically move. We're only on number 1, and his brain has already left the building. We head next to Season 4, Episode 6, Petarded, where Peter Griffin says things so stupid you almost start to admire the confidence behind them. It all starts with a simple game of Trivial Pursuit. Peter wins and immediately decides he's a genius. The level of arrogance he shows would make you think he's a professor at Harvard. And the stuff he says to prove it that he's actually a genius? Pure crap.
All right, Brian, this one's for you. What naturally occurring element has the highest melting point of all metals?
Cadmium?
Sorry, tungsten. Dumbass.
That's Peter mocking Brian for getting a question wrong, while he is answering preschool level questions like, what color is a fire truck? This man's flexing like Einstein over colors. And when Lois tries to end the madness by giving Peter the easiest question ever, just say the word, what? Peter's brain practically explodes under pressure. He starts listing random nouns like he's trying to guess a password made by a blender.
Peter, just say what?
Yeah, Lois, this is not a race. Okay, I want to say who. Fantastic Four, steak, small amount of peas. Is it what?
That was painful to watch, to be honest. And shockingly, yes, it was what? And that win launches Peter into full-blown delusion. He walks around acting like he's the second coming of Galileo. So Brian decides to teach him a lesson and signs him up for the MacArthur Genius Grant program. Now, a normal person might hesitate. Peter, sensing that he could get $500K just to do whatever he wants, jumps right in the idea. He responds with the same deep intellectual thought as before.
You are a genius, Peter. As a matter of fact, let's make it official. You ever heard of the MacArthur Genius Grant?
Perhaps.
Well, if you qualify as a genius, the foundation will give you a $500,000 grant just to sit around and do whatever you want.
Looks like perhaps is his new favorite word, and he says it with so much grace like he's being interviewed for a Nobel Prize. So Peter shows up to the exam, but instead of a calculator or a pen, he brings one of those toddler toys that makes animal noises. And yes, he writes down everything it says. That's not even the dumbest part. After completely bombing the test, the doctor gives Peter the results and tells him he's officially mentally retarded. Peter's reaction? He calls up an old prom date and gives her a medical heads up. He really picks up the phone, dials, and casually goes,
Hello, Sally? Hey, it's Peter Griffin. Yeah, it's right, senior prom. Yeah, it's been a while, yeah. So, listen, I just found out I'm retarded, and, I'm just calling to let you know, you might want to get yourself tested.
The delivery, the logic, the lack of shame, every sentence that comes out of Peter's mouth in this episode feels like it was cooked up by a brain cell working overtime. The man went from self-proclaimed genius to medically diagnosed idiot in under 15 minutes, and somehow he still manages to walk away acting like he won something. If ever there was an episode that summed up the disaster that is Peter's mouth, this is it. Our next stop is the Lottery Fever from Season 10, where Peter Griffin stumbles into the American dream and immediately says all the wrong things on his way down. It starts with Peter asking Lois for $28,000. Why? Because he wants to open a sushi restaurant. And mark this, he does not intend to serve food or even make money, he just wants to yell at customers when they walk in.
I don't care about the sushi. I just want to yell at customers when they walk in the door. Irashaimase! Hajime Here comes a black guy!
That's his business model. Instead of saving money or getting a job, Peter hears a news report about the state lottery hitting $150 million and decides the solution is simple. Just win the lottery. He storms out and comes back with a mountain of tickets, claiming they are guaranteed winners. How did he pay for them? Oh, just by taking out a second mortgage on their house? When Lois and Brian call him out, Peter delivers a gem of financial logic. The lottery is his destiny because of the karma he earned doing USO shows. Then comes the dumbest twist yet. After spending 3 days going through a pile of 200,000 tickets with the whole family, Peter smugly announces those were just a test run. The real tickets are in another box. This is just sickening, to be honest. But somehow, in the most miraculous manner possible, they win. Naturally, Peter decides to cash the entire check and keep the money at home because, in his words,
It seems foolish to have all this money lying around.
Oh, you'd rather have it down at the bank where the Jewish guys can leer at it?
Yeah, money.
well, that's incredibly dumb of him, but he might have a point. With the millions now theirs, Peter goes full cartoon rich guy. He quits his job, buys a giant room filled with gold coins so he can Scrooge McDuck dive into it, and makes it his mission to become the world's worst rich friend. At the bar, he buys everyone drinks and everyone's impressed with how generous he is. But the second his friends want to go home, Peter throws a tantrum and plays the I gave you money card. Then comes his ultimatum. He then makes Joe binge watch True Blood just to tell him which episodes had nudity, and when Joe proudly reports back, Peter completely rejects it.
No, Anna Paquin boob does not count as real boob. That's like looking at a 12-year-old boy. Jeez, you should know that, Joe. You should definitely know that.
Sorry, Peter.
Sorry doesn't show me nipples worth seeing.
If there was ever a quote to remind us that money cannot buy intelligence, this is it. But Peter's not done. He makes Quagmire bite into a fudge pop just to feel the pain, and demands he swallow it, because apparently friendship is a hostage situation now. Then, he lines them up to sing a duet while he fires a BB gun at them. The scene ends when he literally shoots Joe in the eye, then yells at him for not keeping his chin up. That's the point where even Peter's closest friends have had enough. They walk out, tell him off, and leave him alone with his money and stupidity. Because Peter Griffin, the man who thought lottery tickets were an investment strategy, somehow managed to win $150 million and said 150 million dumb things with it. In the episode When You Wish Upon a Weinstein, we get another wild ride where Peter Griffin proves that a dangerous mix of gullibility and confidence is a one-way ticket to disaster. The episode starts with Peter giving Chris a lesson on math. Of course, it's not actual math because we have just seen him use a toy as a calculator. Instead, it's just Peter declaring that math is nothing more than the lesbian sister of biology. Whatever that means, only Peter can understand it.
Math. Math, my dear boy, is nothing more than the lesbian sister of biology.
Then there's a knock at the door. It's a shady salesman who barely says a word before Peter rushes him into revealing what he's selling: volcano insurance. The man really pitches a wild story about a volcano coming to Quahog, an area that has probably never experienced a volcanic eruption before, and Peter listens, nods, and counters that he too has an uncle, like that's some kind of geological fact check. At this point, Peter's sold. He invites the guy inside and asks how much the volcano insurance costs. The salesman makes up a number, just says $200, and Peter reacts like he's buying one of Elon Musk's Teslas.
How much is this volcano insurance?
I don't know. Let's say $200.
$200? That's more than I spent on all that handsome cream. I don't have that kind of money.
It would already be absurd if he spent his own money, but no. Peter raids Lois's emergency fund to pay for this imaginary threat. He used stolen real cash to protect their house from a volcano in Rhode Island. When Lois finds out, she's livid, rightfully so. But instead of apologizing or even pretending to understand the mistake, Peter drops a line so stupid it echoes in the halls of cartoon history. He tells Lois that since she married someone with a child's brain, that makes her a pedophile, and that he will not be lectured by a pervert.
You better watch who you're calling a child, Lois, because if I'm a child, then you know what that makes you? A pedophile. And I'll be damned if I'm gonna stand here and be lectured by a pervert.
Powerful words indeed. This Peter Griffin, the only man who calls his legally married wife a pedophile for sleeping with him. That surely has to be one of the dumbest things Peter has ever said. Peter Griffin going back to 3rd grade is already ridiculous, but in Tales of a 3rd Grade Nothing, he somehow turns a quest for a promotion into a full-blown educational circus. It starts with him trying to impress his boss, Angela, which, like most of Peter's ideas, ends in disaster. He accidentally blows up a part of a children's hospital because, of course he does. Angela tells him that if he wants the promotion, he needs to finish 3rd grade. So, desperate for that promotion, Peter heads back to school and immediately introduces himself with a story that would get most people canceled for just telling it out loud.
Hi, my name's Peter Griffin. I was actually in 3rd grade a long time ago, but I never finished. Back then, we had a teacher named Mrs. Wilson. Except we had this funny little nickname for her. We called her Mrs. Killson, because she had an abortion. I know, it's kind of silly, but we were just a bunch of kids.
And that's just his intro. Remember, he's saying this to a bunch of 3rd graders. From there, Peter treats the classroom like it's his personal comedy club. When the teacher reminds him he's in class, Peter smugly replies, not for long, because he has a plan to sneak out. He has planned this with none other than Quagmire, who shows up in disguise claiming to be his father. When that fails, and spectacularly so, Peter somehow continues to derail every bit of learning. Then, the teacher finds his homework. A page boldly marked homework is for buttlickers. Instead of failing him outright, she's so impressed that Peter accidentally spelled a 3-syllable word, she enters him in the district spelling bee. And just like that, Peter's entire future rides on his ability to spell words that even 3rd graders can manage in their sleep. He starts off strong, sort of.
Your word is tree.
Can you use it in a sentence, please?
There is a tree by the lake.
Can you use it in a dirty sentence?
I like to bring transient hookers to the old oak tree where I asphyxiate myself at the same time I'm watching them have sex with each other.
Yes, Peter insists on hearing every word used in the most inappropriate way possible. For tree, he needs a sentence that involves transient hookers and asphyxiation. Not exactly how you win over a school board, but sure. The spelling bee narrows down to just 2 contestants, Peter and Omar. Omar gets the word coagulate and misses it. Then Peter gets the win or fail word lesbians, a word he has way too much fun with.
Your word is lesbians.
Can you use it in a sentence?
The 2 lesbians are going shopping.
Can you use it in a dirty sentence?
The 2 lesbians are going shopping for double-headed marital aids.
Can you use it in a libelous sentence?
Gillian Anderson and Helen Hunt are lesbians.
Lesbians.
Somehow, that seals it. He spells lesbians correctly and wins the entire competition.
I did it, Lois! My God, I did it!
You sure did, Peter. I'm so proud of you.
Way to go, Dad.
Yeah, you're a smart fella, Dad.
Smart? Let's not stretch it, Meg. Peter just fumbled his way through a spelling bee using dirty jokes and dumb luck. He may have passed 3rd grade, but if this is the guy getting promoted at work, 4th graders should be professors at Princeton. And what happens when Peter Griffin, who we have confirmed is retarded, becomes blind? Yep, that actually happened. And it all started because he got jealous of Quagmire. In blind ambition, Quagmire ends up being hailed a hero after giving CPR to a woman he saw on a security camera. Of course, Peter can't stand not being the center of attention, so he comes up with a genius plan to one-up him. Swallow a bunch of coins.
Oh my God, Lois! I can't see!
After being rushed to the doctor, we learn what anyone with common sense would have feared: nickel poisoning. Dr. Hartman confirms Peter has gone blind, but not before dragging us into a conversation about a hidden spaceship and a magic eye picture. Because priorities. Back at home, everyone's trying to adjust except Peter, who later walks into Chris's room thinking it's Lois. Peter gets uncomfortably close, whispers sweet nothings, and goes as far as feeling up what he thinks are boobs. When he finally realizes it's Chris, he tries to play it off with a casual, "So, did you finish your homework?" As if that would wipe away the trauma. And like that wasn't enough, he even stumbles into Stewie's room next.
Have a good night, son. You still awake, honey?
What the deuce?
Then comes Brutus, Peter's new seeing eye dog. Brian questions why he needs one at all, and Peter responds with a tragic list of mishaps, including accidentally pooping in a church confessional. His reason? He thought being blind might be manageable, but it's been rough. So rough, in fact, he compares it to that week he lived with Superman.
Sorry, I know you got a meeting going on, but, we are officially running low on Mr. Pibb and Cheez-Its. Just putting it out there, if you're heading to the store later, 800-mile drive for me, 5 seconds for you.
Sure, Peter, that's definitely how to take advantage of your roommate's superpowers. Eventually, Peter decides to go to the Drunken Clam, but there's just one small problem. The bar is literally on fire. Does Peter notice? Of course not. He tries to drag Brutus in, then casually ties her to a homeless man thinking it's a parking meter. Poor man, his day probably won't get any worse than that. Peter then strolls inside. Once there, he orders a drink, starts chatting about the TV show Scrubs, and still has no clue he's in the middle of a blazing inferno. Horace, the bartender, begs Peter to take him outside. Peter helps, unknowingly saving his life. He actually only knows there is a fire when he gets interviewed by...
And here comes the heroic blind man. Tell us, sir, how did you summon the courage to save your friend from that burning building?
That freaking place was on fire?
There it is, the cherry on top. He heroically stumbles out of a fire he didn't even know existed. So now he's a blind hero completely by accident. Peter Griffin, ladies and gentlemen. He proves yet again that he doesn't need to only say dumb things, but goes ahead and does them. Ha, what a practical guy. Let's talk about the time Peter Griffin decided he was a redneck now. Yes, just decided because in the episode Airport 07, after watching a redneck comedy show, Peter didn't just laugh, he took it as a life-altering revelation. Peter suddenly decides that he is in fact a redneck. Not because he grew up that way or has any connection to the lifestyle, but because 3 guys on stage wore overalls and made jokes about outhouses.
Peter, you can't suddenly decide to be a redneck just because of some show.
Lois, those men showed me the way to an identity I've been searching for my whole life. I am gonna do everything a redneck is supposed to do.
He proudly announces that they gave him an identity he had been searching for his entire life. That's the kind of thing you hear from someone joining a cult, not attending a comedy show. It doesn't take long before Peter starts acting the part. He drags the family couch out onto the lawn and proudly tells Meg to sit with him.
Dad, what are you doing?
Meg, I'm a redneck, which means I am about to do something to you that you will not remember until you're 40. Meg, come back here. I meant
This has got to be one of the dumbest, most disturbing things Peter has ever said to his own daughter. He genuinely thinks this kind of behavior is part of being a redneck. The only thing dumber than what he said is the fact that he actually said it out loud. But Peter doesn't stop there. He takes his redneck transformation to the streets, literally. He paints over the back window of his pickup truck, which is already a questionable choice, and when Brian asks why, Peter responds with a statement so dumb it should come with a traffic ticket.
Peter, you painted over the back window. Isn't that dangerous?
I'm a redneck, Brian. We like people driving behind us to know what our beliefs are.
Yes, according to Peter, being unable to see behind you is a small price to pay if it means random strangers can read your bumper beliefs. That might be the clearest insight into how Peter's brain works. Or doesn't. By the time he offers to drive Quagmire back to the airport, it's a miracle anyone lets him near a steering wheel. He plows through mailboxes like they're made of paper, still convinced he's doing everything right. Being a redneck may be a joke to Peter, but the real punchline is everything that comes out of his mouth. In the episode And the Wiener Is, Peter's insecurity takes a very weird turn. After a simple basketball game with Chris, things start spiraling fast. All it takes is one unexpected glimpse in the sauna, and suddenly Peter's self-worth is completely under attack. And how does he deal with it? With a series of classically dumb statements that only Peter Griffin could proudly stand by. To kick it off, we get a throwaway cutaway where Peter tells Lois he's working late at the office, while clearly standing in the kitchen. Even after she calls him out, he ducks down and says, "Can you see me now?" Then confidently declares he's now at the office. If your response to being caught lying is doubling down with the stealth tactics of a 5-year-old, you've officially entered peak Peter Griffin logic. Back in the basketball game, Peter and Chris are in a tight one-on-one match, and Peter's not about to let his teenage son outshine him. But instead of playing fair, Peter decides to drop an emotional grenade right before Chris takes the winning shot.
Come on. Your mother and I are getting a divorce. You are? Yes! Yes! Oh, no, we worked it out. Yes!
So yes, Peter fakes a divorce, mid-basketball game, just to win. That had to make our list of the dumbest things he's ever said, but oh no, we're just getting warmed up. The real spiral begins in the sauna. A very normal father-son bonding moment turns into full-on psychological warfare when Peter notices something unexpected about Chris. What he thought was his son's leg turns out to be something else entirely. And that discovery sends Peter into a full-blown manhood crisis.
Hey, Chris, what's with your leg? Oh my God, that's not your leg!
Back home, he's clearly not okay. He gets so self-conscious he can't even be intimate with Lois without assuming she's thinking about their son. This is how far off the rails his logic goes. Then comes the moment he blames Lois for their son's anatomy. Why? Because in Peter's mind, there's no way it could have come from him. Instead of asking any normal questions, Peter's first instinct is to storm into Chris's room and verify it. Like a weird sheriff with a tape measure, and when he sees it again, he just flat out gives up on being the man of the house.
Oh my. Well, no wonder he's always slouching.
How the hell did this happen? I'm supposed to be the man of the house. You must be so ashamed of me.
Now Lois tries to comfort him, saying she doesn't care about size. But Peter, he reacts like he just heard Santa isn't real and he's adopted. Peter's sulking harder than Meg at prom. And when Chris innocently asks for help with his homework, Peter shuts him down like he requested a DNA test. Then comes dinner, and here's where Peter takes it up another notch. Chris reaches for his milk, and Lois encourages him to drink up. Peter, fueled by a cocktail of jealousy and insecurity, snatches the milk out of his hands like it's radioactive and downs it himself as if chugging a gallon of dairy will magically reverse biology.
Chris, drink your milk. It'll make you big and strong.
No! No more milk for him, Lois. He's had enough. Give me that.
Peter's grand solution to reclaiming his masculinity was calcium. His logic has been in shackles for years, but in this episode, he didn't just say dumb things, he somehow managed to feel dumber with every single word. If Peter Griffin ever needed an excuse to reinvent himself, discovering his real name was Justin was apparently all it took. In the episode Quagmire's Mom, Lois tries to help Peter open a bank account and things start off pretty normal and harmless. But then the banker reads the name on his birth certificate, Justin Peter Griffin. Turns out Peter's first name is actually Justin. And rather than shrugging this off like any normal adult would, Peter has a full-blown identity crisis. Or rather, an identity rebrand.
No, I never noticed that. Justin Griffin. Huh, I like the sound of that. I'm a Justin. This is awesome. This changes everything.
Peter, it doesn't change a thing. You're still the exact same person.
I beg to differ.
Now the dumb part isn't just that he suddenly thinks he's someone else, it's the way he flips the switch. He tosses on a topless outfit, starts calling himself Justin, and believes that this somehow makes him a younger, cooler person overnight. In this new Justin lifestyle, Peter starts saying the most ridiculous things with absolute confidence. He refers to bars as loud corners and insists the whole family join him in bonding through shirtless chest cuddling. Stewie, rightfully disturbed, points out that Peter's heartbeat is completely erratic. Probably because even his heart knows this is insane, and the fact he's the most out-of-shape cartoon character in history.
Since I'm your cool father, Justin, we should bond with skin-to-skin contact.
Your heartbeat is weird. It is not consistent at all.
Later, Peter sneaks into Chris's room to start a sweet news wall, because obviously being Justin means he now curates a personal museum of things he finds sweet. This includes palm trees, hamburgers, the band Guster, and oddly, just a picture of a vest. It's like watching a 13-year-old's Pinterest board come to life. Then Lois catches him talking in abbreviations and pretending he's some bohemian philosopher who surfs once a decade. When she confronts him, Peter babbles about Lady Blue and being in the pocket of a wave, claiming she told him he's great. Keep in mind, he's never surfed a day in his life. The only thing he's ever caught is diabetes. Of course, this identity meltdown peaks with Peter throwing a massive party at their house and acting like a frat who never left junior year. There's alcohol, loud music, and teenagers hooking up all over. One partygoer even asks if Lois is Peter's mom. Instead of correcting him, Peter praises the kid for knowing how to smoke pot out of an apple.
Oh, dude, is that your mom?
No, I'm not his mom, you little bastard.
That little bastard knows how to smoke pot out of an apple.
Eventually, Lois puts her foot down and demands he go back to being Peter, to which Peter solemnly agrees, but not before declaring that being Justin was quite an adventure filled with terrible slang, bizarre wisdom, and possibly the dumbest self-discovery arc of all time. Only Peter Griffin could find out his name is Justin and treat it like he's been reborn as a TikTok influencer on spring break. And lastly, only Peter Griffin could watch a chick flick and come out of it thinking, hey, I can do that, but worse. Inspired by a heartfelt movie Lois made him sit through, and because he owes her after how he embarrassed her in front of Sandra Oh.
We see you in many movies. I think about you while having sex with my wife. I thank you with $1. That's a lot of money to them.
Just how dumb is that? Anyway, Peter decided he's going to create his own cinematic masterpiece, and naturally he calls it Steel Vaginas. Right from the title, you already know you're walking into a disaster, but the real dumbness kicks in when Peter directs the film. He casts Joe in a role that requires walking, completely ignoring the fact that Joe is paralyzed. When Joel calmly reminds him that he can't walk, Peter's solution is, well, a cattle prod and some peanut butter.
Okay, yeah, but your character can walk.
Peter, I'm handicapped. I can't walk.
Joe, get out of the damn chair. Chris, get the cattle prod. Okay, now give him some peanut butter so we can make it look like he's talking.
Now, if that sounds insane, wait until you hear Peter try to justify the plot. According to him, the lead character, Vagina Hertz, suffers from something he calls uncurable chick cancer and is guided through her journey by a doctor named McNugget. Sounds like a grade 3 kid wrote that. Opening night arrives, and Peter kicks things off with a speech that manages to insult both filmmaking and heart surgery in the same breath. He thanks the crowd, tells them to calm down even though nobody's excited, and then cues up what might be the most unintentionally offensive, nonsensical film ever made. The movie includes everything from Lois being born as a full-grown woman to someone dying from eating a sandwich before swimming. The audience is horrified, Joe's butt is sore, and Peter's scriptwriting and production is as dumb as all the things he said in this episode. Peter Griffin is not just occasionally stupid, but his brain might actually be on permanent strike. Across hundreds of episodes, almost every word he speaks defies reason, logic, and basic human thought. But in a weird way, that's his role. He's the walking disaster the family orbits around. Not because he's wise, but because he's too clueless to collapse.